It's the end of White Plume Mountain. We finished the campaign. I'm a little sad, but let's talk about it. Hey everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent, and today we're talking about the very last campaign of White Plume Mountain. My party had a fantastic time. This was probably the best way to end this campaign that I could see. Like, we just had a really great time with it. So to recap, they were in a room with a vampire. They killed the vampire. They went down underneath his coffin. They kind of searched around and explored, and they found a room underneath his coffin that held Whelm. Realizing none of them are dwarves and could wield Whelm, they decided to just pack up and get out of the area. There was one more room they needed to explore, and that was the room with the glass balls from the ceiling that... I don't know, there's just 9 glass balls filled with various things. So they all come into this room, the door locks behind them, and they need to break these balls to find the keys that are inside of them. So yeah, they broke a lot of these glass balls. I was really surprised that, because some of them have monsters in them, but of the 5 they broke before they found the actual key to get out, had 0 monsters. They were kind of just willy-nilly breaking these Christmas ornaments and finding no monsters to fight. They found the correct key. They also found the magical ring that isn't magical. It's kind of designed to be a point where everybody fights over it, because it's a ring that casts fly, haste, invisibility. It also grants a wish. And it's designed in the campaign for the party members to either think this is too good to be true, maybe it's cursed, or for the party members to fight about it. And they didn't fight at all. In fact, the fighter grabbed it, he flicked it up to the rogue put it on, was just like, sweet, I've got a magic item now. Only to find out later that it didn't do any of the things that it promised it would do, which he was a little bummed about, but I was like, that's the adventure. I didn't write this. Because when you write it, it's really personal to you, but with a pre-written module, it's really easy to just blame it on the module. Like, well, that's what the module says. They left that room, but not before the barbarian wanted to break all of the remaining glass balls at once to see what was inside of them. So she broke all of them. 5 monsters spill out. She runs out of the room. They shut the door. They use the magical key that they got to lock it. So they lock the door. And I didn't want to have them do this fight. They had already solved the room. So I kind of thought, well, we can just bypass this. So I had the monsters trying to break down the door, but they were unsuccessful. And our party left. And as our party leaves, they hear from the wizard of the dungeon, oh, don't leave. You need to take the places of all of the monsters that you killed that were protecting my items. And P.S., you're not allowed to take my magical treasures out of this mountain. Nyx and Nox, which are 2 Efreet, and the Efreet show up, and they are told to escort the party to this indoctrination center. The party obviously refused, and there was a big fight. This was an interesting fight because there was no space. Like, you can see from this picture here, like the Efreet take up 10 feet of squares, and the corridors are only 10 feet long, so I put one on the bottom and one at the top. But when they start summoning elementals and things like that, like, it just makes for really tight fighting quarters, which is maybe intended. It was kind of interesting because they couldn't actually surround the Efreet to fight him. And so some of the people were like, well, I don't have any ranged attacks. What do I do? But I'm not strong enough to like the Bard, for example, didn't have any ranged attacks, but didn't really want to take on another Efreet all by herself. They were really clever about this. They used a scroll of fear to scare Nyx away, and he ran all the way up into the corner, while all of them circled around Nox and just started wailing on him. They ultimately summoned a fire elemental, and so now I had 3 little creatures fighting them. In turn, they had Johnny 5, who was helping them fight, which was the flesh golem that they had, and then the druid also summoned a gargoyle to help fight. There was a lot of characters on the battlefield, so to speak. About midway through, they realized that they weren't going to win, or it was going to be a really tough win, and so they wanted to escape. So they killed Nox, they defeated him. Nyx was still up there causing trouble, and a summoned fire elemental was up there causing trouble, but they decided to run. And the fighter ran in to kind of like hold them off and keep them at bay. He got a couple swipes in. The barbarian put up a wall of force around him using Wave, the trident. Nyx and the fire elemental had to break through that wall of force, which they did with just a successful attack on a decent AC. So they broke through that force and they were going to attack him. He took the disengage action and ran. And I had to pause the game there for a minute because I didn't really know what to do. I wanted Nyx and the fire elemental to chase them, but I didn't really know how to run a chase. So I took a pause here and I opened up the DMG and I was kind of reading about chases, trying to figure out like, well, how do I run a chase right here really quick? When one of my players had a really great idea, he said, why don't we just do a skill challenge? Now, we played 4th edition together where skill challenges were all over the place, and they had a very definitive set of rules. So I listened to the podcast Critical Hit, and if you have ever listened to that, they play 4th edition, and they have some really great rules for skill challenges. It more or less works the same way in 5th edition. In short, the party needed to get 8 successes before 3 failures. And the situation is that they're running from Nyx and the fire elemental, trying to get out of White Plume Mountain. If they fail, they're going to be captured by Nyx and the fire elemental and probably taken to the indoctrination center. In this skill challenge, they used various skills to slow Nyx and Nox down, to also speed them up, and to find the best path out of the dungeon. It was really cool, not to bore you with a skill challenge, but it was the best way to end this possible because it came down to, they were at 7 successes and 2 failures, and it was down to the druid. And the druid had to do 1 skill challenge, and it was either way she was going to fail, or it was on her whether that this succeeded or failed, this entire encounter. And she decided to go with perception to kind of to perceive the fire that Nyx was throwing at them, to kind of dodge out of the way and also find the best path out of the mountain while they're going up this spiral staircase. So they're running up this spiral staircase. She rolled perception. She succeeded, to everyone at the table with a huge cheer, as we're all really excited that they won the game. They escape as Nyx is climbing up the side of the spiral staircase, and it collapses under his own weight, and a whole section of the mountain kind of tumbles in on itself. So our players got out safely. The entrance to the dungeon is kind of smashed, so future adventurers won't get trapped in here. And they escaped with the 3 items that they were sent to gather. So it was really cinematic, and it was really climactic, and I'm really happy that my player suggested it. I actually gave him an inspiration point because of it. I'm like, that's a great idea. After that, they traded in all the stuff, got their reward, end of campaign. Everyone was really satisfied, and we finished White Plume Mountain. It was a lot of fun. So up next week, if we meet, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to meet, my party and I, but up next week, we're going to run a one-shot that I wrote. And this one shot is called Dragon on the Mount, and it is about, there is a village that has like a small mountain next to it, and a dragon has taken up residence inside the mountain. And the dragon's kobold slaves come out of the mountain weekly and demand tribute to the dragon. And they've been doing this so much that they're bleeding the town dry. So the mayor has hired an adventuring party to come over and take care of this dragon, hopefully. So I'm really excited about this one shot that I wrote. It's kind of straightforward and simple, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. And when we're done with it, when we run it and I kind of iron out the kinks, I'm going to put it to you guys. I'll make a PDF of it and I'll make it available in case anybody wants to run this one shot as well. And I'd love to hear if you do run it, because that's awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching. White Plume Mountain was a lot of fun. I really do recommend it if you guys want just a funhouse dungeon campaign. Like it's really short, it's really simple, and my players had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun running it. I think if you're a fairly new DM and you've only done lower level stuff, the recommended level for this is 8 or 9. So get in there with like some higher level party members and see if you guys want to play like, hey, we always play level 3 or level 4. Why don't we run White Plume Mountain where we can be like 8 or 9? And this campaign isn't going to take us 6 months. It's going to take us, 3 or 4 sessions. We just hit 5,500 subscribers, and so that's really amazing. I've been super happy how much the channel is growing. Everyone really seems to love the Forgotten Realms Explained lore videos, which I have a blast making, and I have a lot of fun making these videos too. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys again for watching. Please feel free to leave me any comments, questions, or concerns, and I will see you all in the next video.